Good evening. My name is Brian Grzymkowski. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Graduate Admissions here at William Paterson University. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your schedule to join us for our webinar presentation today. The first and foremost, what I think is most important is that we give you the opportunity to learn more about our program for wherever works best for you, whether you're on your couch, at your office, wherever you find yourself right now. It's our hope that this is a convenient way for you to get to know Dr. Michael Thompson, our program coordinator for our MA in Public Policy and International Affairs here. We're going to go through everything from the requirements, information about the program itself, the chance for you to learn more. We don't want this to be a substitute for the opportunity to come to campus. Obviously, we'd encourage you. It is a beautiful campus. We'd love to have you here at some point, either for the chance to sit down and meet with Michael and speak about your interests further, to come for one of our open houses that we have here on campus. But certainly it's our hope that this is a good way to learn a lot about the program in a relatively short amount of time. So again, just want to take the opportunity to thank you for joining us. You'll notice right under the Handouts tab there on the GoToWebinar screen that this PowerPoint presentation is available in its entirety for you to download at your convenience if you'd like. And also, too, want to make sure you know in advance that we're going to make this available to you, the recording of this video further down the line, so that you can review it at your leisure if you need to catch up on something. And the main reason I say that is so you're not sitting there with a pen trying to jot down a lot of notes about contact information and everything else. Certainly feel free to just sit back, take in the information, and as I mentioned, it's certainly our hope that this is very helpful for you. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it on over to my colleague. So Dr. Michael Thompson, take it away.
Thank you, Brian. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this webinar this afternoon. I wanted to basically take the time to go over what the master's program in Public Policy and International Affairs offers students at William Paterson University, and go over a lot of the different aspects of the program, requirements, and also where students that have graduated from the program, what directions they've gone in, and what kind of training we offer and education we offer for students. It's a really exciting program. Our students are from all over the world. We have a really wonderful faculty, and our courses are really excellent. It's wonderful to teach in the program, and our students clearly are very energized and get a lot out of it. So let's begin. The first thing that I wanted to emphasize was that Public Policy and International Affairs, our program, what makes it unique is that we really do emphasize the idea that we believe you should become a creative thinker in terms of creating new forms of policy perspectives and critical thinking about policy and social problems. Another unique aspect of our program, unlike many master's programs in the region in public policy or public administration or international affairs, is that we are open to students of all backgrounds and education levels. People returning to school who are maybe a little more mature, students who are a little younger, students from backgrounds that don't have anything to do with political science. It's all fine. We train you from the bottom up. And lastly, and this is also important, that we offer our seminars, our courses in the evening in order to accommodate students who work. Our classes generally start at about 6 o'clock and end at 8:30, 8:40. So our webinar today, I want to talk about what Public Policy and International Affairs is at William Paterson. I want to tell you a little about who we are in terms of our faculty, where our program can take you after you graduate and while you're here, and talk a little about, who have experienced our program and where they've gone. And then lastly, I want to discuss some of the application requirements and deadlines, since that is something that comes up, often in students when talking about applying. So first of all, what is PPIA at William Paterson? Our program is divided into two tracks. First is a public policy track, and the second is an international affairs track. These are not rigid distinctions. Public policy and international affairs really do inform one another. You can't really talk about public policy and social problems and political problems without understanding the global context. Similarly, you really can't talk about international affairs and international politics without understanding the mechanisms of public policy and politics at the ground level. So even though they sound like they're two distinct tracks, they're really more programmed kind of areas of emphasis. Some people who want to go more local, some people who want to go more international. But we have courses that can fill out both. The next thing is, and as I said this before, it's really important to understand what's distinctive. We are not a program that is training you to do some kind of simply some kind of technical form of expertise. We are training you to think critically, to think creatively about politics and international affairs, even though we also give you a very solid training in social sciences and the technical aspects of the discipline. So another thing I want to talk about is one of the other goals, primary goals that we have in public policy administration is to educate students so that we can give you some kind of coherence to what your individual interests and goals are. Oftentimes students enter the program, they're not really sure where they know they have an interest, but they're not really sure what that means. How can I make it into a career? How can I change my career? How can I get further in the career than I'm at? Our program helps really concretize and give some shape and coherence to what students want, what their goals and interests really are. The second really important aspect of the program is that we really do train you in the important techniques in social analysis. I mean this in terms of quantitative statistics and methods, research design, policy analysis, different methodological perspectives, all of these things in order to equip you with a kind of toolbox that you can go out into the world and be able to critically analyze, as well as do research, as well as analyze research, as well as think and talk intelligently and critically about politics and social problems. We give you that training. And lastly, and I keep emphasizing this because it's really something that's very distinctive, we really do place emphasis on strengthening your powers to creatively solve political and social policy problems in different areas. And what that means is by not simply training and educating you passively, but kind of bringing you out into an active kind of education where you're asked to actually create and construct problem areas. So some of the required courses, just a handful of them that we begin, usually we ask students in the first semester to take 3 or 4 courses. They could take less if they're working. We're very flexible. First is Public Policy in the Age of Globalization, which is a course that talks about major kind of policy and political areas and fields or problems and questions, and talk about how globalization impacts economic inequality, how globalization impacts healthcare, the environmental policy, all sorts of different kinds of policy areas. Second is comparative public policy, which talks about different policy models and different kind of political and social kind of models that exist in the world, from comparing China, the United States, the Nordic countries, and so on and so forth. Third is research design. We teach you from the ground up how to understand social science research, how to conduct research in terms of sophisticated social scientific methodological paradigms, and we also have a required course in Tools of Policy Analysis, which is statistical and qualitative methods about how to carry out research, how to conduct different forms of research, including interviews, statistical qualitative, comparative, historical, all these different methodological kind of approaches. Bottom line, these 4 courses really give students a solid foundation to talk about whatever policy or political areas of interest that they have, and enable them to kind of open up their own powers, intellectual powers and creative powers. In addition, you can also take courses outside of the program. You're actually allowed to take 6 credits outside of PPIA. So you could take classes that are offered in the sociology graduate program, history, communications, even in environmental science and the business school, anything that is really going to help you focus yourself and you in terms of your interests. So what do you need to do to complete the program? Students have to complete 36 credits. This can usually be done within 4 semesters. There's ways to shrink that time frame. Some students also extend it because they're not going full-time. So as I said, usually it can be completed in 2 years, but there's other ways, which I'll discuss in a little bit, that can be truncated and shortened. You can choose either to write a final thesis, which is 6 credits, your last 2 semesters, or you can do an internship, which is also 6 credits. It's either or. If you choose to write a final thesis, you choose an advisor, and they work with you on on researching an area that you're particularly interested in. Your other option is to do an internship for 6 credits. Students are usually 50-50 at what they do in terms of what their interests are. So who are the faculty at PPIA? Well, to say it simply, our faculty is diverse. We have professors from all over the world, from Africa, from South Asia, and we have many different areas of specialty, some in areas of specialty in the Middle East, some with areas of specialty in Europe, in political economy, in law, international law. There's just almost every area of specialty, specialization, and background that you could imagine. One of the things that I talked about before were different opportunities we have to either shorten or truncate the 2-year time frame, but also we have different opportunities internationally for those people who are interested in studying abroad. We do have a semester or year-long study program in India, and this is with the Nehru University in Delhi, which is a graduate school for international affairs. And we have an exchange relationship with this graduate school. So students from India have come to William Paterson to study in our program, either for a semester or for 2 semesters, and our students are able to, through this agreement, go to Delhi for either a semester or a year and study in the master's program there. All courses are in English. Second is a very popular summer program at Cambridge University in UK, and this you receive 6 credits for study, intensive study, 2-week study at the university there. And what's really wonderful about that is Cambridge is a wonderful place. It's a very intellectually stimulating place, but also you can knock out 6 credits, which is 2 courses, in about 2.5 weeks. So this is a very popular way for students to both get a really wonderful intellectual experience, but also in a more practical way, try to shorten the 2-year course line of study. Where have students that have graduated from our program gone? Well, there's a lot of different areas. I can only name a few. One is in the nonprofit corporate sector, Planned Parenthood, many other different kinds of nonprofit, Michael J. Fox Foundation, and they've gotten really wonderful work in the nonprofit sector. Other is government work and public sector. We actually had a student only 2 years ago who graduated, and she did her thesis on female trafficking and got a really great job at the Paterson Police Department, heading one of their task forces on sex trafficking in Passaic County. Others have gone on to academia. Some students have just been so stimulated that they went on to get doctoral degrees at Rutgers or City University of New York or Penn State or different places. And many of them now are actually teaching at university. There's one of our alumni is teaching at Penn State University. Another one is teaching at the University of Massachusetts. And there's another one teaching at the University of Vermont. So students have even gone that route. Some students have gone on to journalism, working for newspapers or news websites and outlets and news services. Some have gone to work for non-governmental organizations in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America. And some have even gone on to just doing research at universities or think tanks or different organizations or agencies. And that's just a few of the possible areas where people have gone after graduating public policy, international affairs. So let's talk a little bit about the application requirements. It's really not that complicated. First, obviously, you would need a completed application. We can't see your application until everything is in. So it's very important if you start an application to make sure you make an effort to complete it. And if you have questions, always ask me, reach out to me, or to anyone at the Graduate Admissions Office. They'll be happy to help you. You're going to need a set of your transcripts. We do require a writing sample, just anything that maybe a paper from undergraduate or something you've written just to show that you have a good facility writing English. GRE or MAT, the Miller Analogy Tests examination, is required. We're also willing to waive that if you have a high grade point average. Usually, if you have a grade point average of 3.0 or above, the GRE scores or MAT scores aren't really going to matter all that much. So what we really need is that threshold of your GPA to be over a 3.0 to make the admissions process go smoothly. If the if the grade point average is below 3.0, then we have to kind of figure something out. And of course, lastly, there's 2 letters of recommendation, usually from former teachers. If you can't do that, from people you worked with, or something that can attest to your intellectual merits. We also have graduate assistantships available. These graduate assistantships work in different departments throughout the university. They include tuition, and the deadline for the application is April 1st for the following year. So if you have any questions about the program, want to talk more about it, please contact me. I'm Michael Thompson. I'm professor at the Department of Political Science at William Paterson University. Below is my email address. Feel free to email me, and I'll be happy to reach out to you. We can talk on the telephone, whatever you need, and to try to get to know you a little bit better. If you have any questions about your application or any of the kind of things that I touched upon today, feel free to contact me, and we can talk at length. Thank you, and I really hope you can join us this fall. We really have a wonderful set of courses and a very exciting cohort of students joining us. So thanks for your time, and I'm willing to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Michael. As he mentioned, if you do have any questions, you can type them right in the chat box there. Michael, myself, would be more than happy to answer any admissions or program-related questions that you might have. For anyone, I know a few of you may have joined us a little bit late. Just wanted to let you know that right there on the handout screen, or the handout tab there on the GoToWebinar screen, you're able to download this presentation in its entirety. So if you missed a couple slides in the beginning, it'll give you the opportunity to catch back up. But also want to make sure you know we are going to be sharing this recording in its entirety on our YouTube channel in the near future, usually in a week or 2 at most. So keep that in mind too. And similarly, if you have any friends, any colleagues who you think might have benefited from taking in this presentation, feel free to share the link as well further down the line too. Other thing, just want to let you know from a timeline standpoint, I know Michael mentioned before the fall semester, just wanted to let you know that we are still taking applications for the fall. There is still plenty of time to get an application in, but if you are interested in the program, now would be a great time to start the application. It's online on our website. Just go to wpunj.edu. Right under graduate admissions, you'll see there's the Apply Now section that would allow you to get started on the application. Many of the supplemental documents that are required can be submitted electronically to us, either at the time when you complete the application, or it can be attached and sent to our graduate inbox, which is graduate at WPUNJ.edu. So just keep that in mind too. And then, like I mentioned earlier, I would definitely encourage you, if you haven't been on campus, to definitely make sure you set up a time to come by, whether it's to one of our formal events like the open house, schedule an appointment to sit down and meet with Michael to talk about your interest and about the program a little bit further. It really is a beautiful campus and a wonderful place, and certainly we'd love to have you here at your convenience if you're able to join us sometime soon. So with that being said, we did get a couple questions as I talk through, so I'm just going to read them off to Michael, and we'll go through one by one. Michael, one question that came through is, what options are available for students who are working full-time while trying to pursue the program? What would be the best option or route for that student?
I think we have many students who work full-time. And I think most of them are, well, I want to emphasize something about the scheduling of the courses. I did mention that they do begin later in the day. They all begin at 6 o'clock. But it's also important to bring out that they meet once a week, that they don't meet, one course does not meet multiple times throughout the week. So if I take 2 courses in a semester, I'm only going to be coming 2 evenings during the week. So that's usually one way that you can knock out courses while you're working, say, full-time, for example. We don't have, at this point, any online courses, and one of the reasons for that is the intimate nature of the program and the courses. Usually, a seminar will have between 6, 7 people, or maybe at the upper end 13 or 15 people within a seminar. So they're very intimate. So we meet in the evening, and we also meet once a week. So it's a longer period to meet, but we get it out of the way once. So that's usually one of the ways that we're able to accommodate working students.
And then one other question that came through, does a student have to have a background specifically in political science? Does their Bachelor of Arts have to be in political science for a student to do well in your program? And be considered.
I get this question, I get this question a lot, and it's very important for me to emphasize. We are very eager. It's not just that we tolerate or we're willing to look at people from outside of political science. We are eager to have people from outside of political science. And I think the main reason is they bring diverse perspectives, diverse interests that enrich the classroom, it enriches the program, and so it is very important to emphasize if people are maybe a little skittish or a little nervous about applying to the program. They say, I really don't know much about politics or social science. I have a degree in art. I have a degree in English. I have a degree in philosophy. I have a degree in business. It doesn't matter. We're here, as I tried to emphasize in the presentation, we really do build you from the ground up. We give you the tools that you need, and we make no presumptions or prerequisite forms of knowledge for you to be able to succeed in the program and to be able to create a kind of new opportunities for yourself through the program. So I think that's really glad that that question came up, because I do want to emphasize that that should not be in any way a blockage to anyone applying.
And then you had mentioned earlier that in some circumstances you're open to waiving the GRE scores for a student. If there is a student who has concerns about their test scores, if the other elements of their application line up in terms of the requirements that you're looking for the program, do they generally sit down to meet with you to discuss it? Is that something where they should call you, or is that something where generally you're looking for it and you're reaching out to the student, letting them know we're going to waive your scores? How do you generally approach that from a admission standpoint?
Yeah, this is another important question that comes up a lot. A lot of students who want to go to graduate school are nervous because they have to take the graduate record exam, which is a really daunting test. It's expensive. It's not particularly pleasant to have to experience, to have to endure. The state of New Jersey requires that GRE, that we require a GRE, but we also have the ability to waive those scores if there are other aspects of your application are strong. So this can be done on a case-by-case basis, but that's why it's important for me to emphasize that if you have questions, to reach out to us. We can almost always find some kind of solution to help you streamline the application and try to make things a little easier for you, and get you in to start taking courses.
And then another student asked if they are not sure about a start time for the program, or there's something that's keeping them from jumping in with both feet, does a student have the opportunity to take coursework as a non-degree student for your program before matriculating?
Yes. Actually, many of our students did it this way. They said, maybe I'll take one course in the fall, see how it goes, see if I like this. I've never seen one of those students not register, not apply for full matriculation to the program. So if that's something that you want to do, please feel free to register for a course, to sign up for a class. It could be one of my classes, it could be anything that interests you. But please my recommendation is just start, don't wait. The longer you wait, the longer you put it off, and you rob yourself of opportunities. And I think it's really important to give it a try, even if you're on the fence, give it a try. I am positive that if you give it a try, you're going to be seduced into applying for matriculation to the program. I have never seen anyone take a course and say, this is boring, this isn't for me. The courses are exciting, they're interesting, challenging, and so I highly recommend, if a student wants to do that, that's fine. We can discuss that, or you could just sign up for a course. That's one of the great things about public higher education. So yes, that is an option, and students should feel free to be able to explore that.
And then just from an admissions standpoint, if a student is interested in pursuing courses as a non-degree student, you could actually begin courses as soon as the summer session, which is, I believe, the first day of classes is May 24th. And then you could do the same for the fall if that was of interest, and that I believe classes start September 1st. The reason I mention that, you can go on the website, and when completing your online application, you can choose non-degree as the type of application that you wish to submit to the office. You can submit your transcript, receive a quick decision, and then that gives you that opportunity to take up to 9 graduate credits before you formally matriculate into a program. And
let me emphasize something. Just sorry, Brian, to cut you off, but I did want to say something about that because I think there's something important. Oftentimes, students who don't feel confident about their undergraduate record, they didn't do well as an undergraduate, but they're different now. They really are driven to learn. They've had different experiences in life. They want to return. They want to get back. And they feel that their grade point average or their grades weren't good enough to get into the master's program. One method of doing this is to come take some courses non-matric, do well in those courses, and then it's a much easier bridge for admission into matriculation. So that is another way, if students aren't feeling confident about their academic record, to kind of bridge their way into the program. The second thing that I thought of when Brian was talking was it's important. I mean, I'm the graduate director. I'm basically available every day of the week, all summer. It's of course the best thing is to try to get an application in as early as possible. But if this is something you're thinking about, you're 10% sure, you're 5% sure, reach out to me anyway. We can work on getting your application complete throughout the summer. Even though there are, classes, undergraduate classes are out, I am still here in the summertime willing to help you, and I can help you kind of put the application together and get you started for the fall. And that's the most important thing, is to get started. Because if you don't, you miss out on the fall, then maybe you'll start in the spring, and then you end up losing half a year. I recommend if you're even slightly interested, to reach out to me, and I can help even throughout the summertime. We can accept applications as late as the end of August, even though that's not the ideal situation, but we can still do it to get you in for September 1.
Thank you very much. And then to piggyback off of what he said, I just want to make sure you know as well that the admissions office, the graduate admissions office, is here and available to help if you have questions about the application process. If you want to stop by to talk a little bit further, you're obviously welcome here anytime as well. Right now, our office is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. We're located right in Morrison Hall. We're actually the first door on the right when you walk into the building. So whether it's dropping off a recommendation letter or any questions that you may have, do feel free to stop by as well. But I believe that's it for our questions. So again, I just want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your schedule to join us. Certainly hope that this was beneficial for you. We really appreciate you taking the time to come out. And like I said, it's certainly our hope that we'll see you on campus sometime soon. And otherwise, from everyone here in the Graduate Admissions Office and the Public Policy and International Affairs program, we just want to thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Take care.